So good afternoon. So today we will be studying about cross-sectional and longitudinal methods. So first we will see cross-sectional method. Okay, I'll tell you a simple way what is cross-sectional. In your school you would have drawn diagrams in biology, cross-sectional diagram. Okay, or even in your anatomy in your first year you would have studied cross-sectional diagram. So in research, when you do a cross-sectional study, that means you are doing a study at one time using a particular type of design. Okay, so that means you are doing a study on a particular problem or a situation, okay, at one particular time. So you are doing a study, remember, listen carefully, you are doing the study about one particular problem at one particular time. So we all know that the present world is suffering with coronavirus. Okay, so we cannot study all the people who have got coronavirus at the same time. Okay, so we take a sample of the population. You know about sampling. So we take a group of people who represent the whole population and we study them about the situation, about their problem, about what is happening. So this is like studying a cross section of the population. Okay, so this aspect is called as cross sectional study. So at one particular time we are studying about the population, cross section. Usually cross sectional studies are simple studies because you have a target study population. You know who you are going to do research on, and at one particular time you do the research in that population. For example, if you are going to do an interview of 10 people who are suffering from cancer, so you create a questionnaire and you interview them at one particular point and you find out information that is needed in your research. So that is a cross-sectional study. You have taken the people and you have interviewed them. You are not following them up regularly. Okay, at one particular time you have studied them and you get an overall picture of how they are suffering from cancer, why they got cancer. So all the information you collect at one particular time. So that is a cross-sectional study. Okay, another example if you want me to give, we can take all the students in your batch, okay, and find out how you have been affected by the online classes. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get all of you, or at least 4 of you, 2 boys and 2 girls, and then find out in detail how you have benefited from the online classes, whether you have not benefited, what are the problems you face in online classes, and is online classes better or offline classes better or regular classes better. So all these details we collect from the 4 people, 2 boys and 2 girls, and then we tell that this is how the whole population will feel, or the whole batch will feel the same way, because we have studied a representative population among your class. So that is a cross-sectional study. Okay, so some of the examples of cross-sectional studies, okay, it may be health related, non-health related. Some of the examples are attitude of a population towards mining in Australia. So we take this is just examples that I have taken. So in Australia, if there are, forget in Australia, you can actually replace it with India. Okay, so what is the, see, in India, in remote areas, in tribal areas, there is a lot of mining going on. So what happens because of the mining? The people living in their area, they lose their regular habitat. They are not able to hunt the animals, they are not able to have trees, so their livelihood is affected. So we take a group of tribal people, we ask them what are the problems they are facing because of the mining that is going on. So they will tell us a list of problems. So we have studied a cross section of the population. We cannot study all the people who are suffering in this world because of mining, but one group we study and they represent the whole population around the country and around the world. Okay, so that is one type of cross-sectional study. The number of HIV positive cases in India. So we take the people who are HIV positive and we find out among a group of them how they got HIV, why they got HIV, what are the causes, what are the problems they are facing. And then homelessness among young people. We cannot do research on 100% of all the people who are homeless in the country. We can only do it among a small sample of the population. So we take a small sample and then we find out the reasons for homelessness. So each of them may have, some of them may have only one reason, some of them may have 5 reasons. So all these reasons are listed out, and we will be able to understand that these are the causes in all the other people also who we have not included in the study. Okay, so that is the cross-section study. So you take a sample population, you study, and that is applicable to the other people as well. There are other examples given here which you can see. The impact of unemployment on street crime. So all this is part of your social problems subject and other subjects. Attitude of community towards equity, unemployment in a city, customer satisfaction with a product or a hospital or a service, health needs of a community, attitudes of students toward facilities available in the library or available in the college. So these are all simple studies which are cross-sectional studies. Okay. So the main point of difference between a cross-sectional study and a longitudinal study is the cross-sectional study, you have contact with the study population at only one time. Okay, so you ask questions and you do the study, you do the research at one particular time, and then the research is over and you write about the research and you publish it. So the advantage of this type of research is, since you do the research at only one time among a cross section of the population, it is cheap, it is less expensive. Okay, but the biggest disadvantage of this type of research is you are doing study at one particular point of time, and then after 5 years if you study the same population, they might have different reasons. You ask a homeless person why they are homeless, at that particular point of time they would have told, I fought with my parents, but later on they would have told, I don't have money, I don't have family members. So there are other reasons as well. So that change cannot be measured in a cross-sectional study. Only when you follow up a particular patient every now and then you will be able to measure the change. Okay, so the minimum number of times you have to have data collection on the same population is twice in a research. Okay, so if you do 2 data collection on the same population at different times, then that becomes a longitudinal study. At different points of time you are doing study on the same population. But in a cross-sectional study, you do research on a sample population at only one particular time. So there is an advantage here that it is less expensive, but the disadvantage is you cannot measure the change in that population. Okay, so that is the advantage and disadvantage of a cross-sectional study. But in a longitudinal study, which we are going to see next, the longitudinal study, you select a particular population and then you study that population at different points of time. See, I told you about studying your batchmates. Okay, asking your classmates on how the online classes are effective and how whether offline classes are better, online classes are better. So when we do it only once, then it is a cross-sectional study. But in a longitudinal study, I will ask you in the first year how it feels. So in first year you may say, I felt that online classes are better. Then I ask the same question to you in second year. Do data collection in second year when you are all students of second year. Then I do the data collection when you are in third year. Then I do the same data collection when you start working. So each time you may have a different answer, because first year you may have felt that it is good, second year you may have felt that it is bad, third year you may feel that it is much better than first year. So your ideas will change over a period of time. Same way in when we do such studies in patients. For example, if you do a research on cancer patient, you do data collection once, then they will tell you how they feel at that particular point of time. If you do data collection every 6 months, then you will be able to compare whether the person is getting better, whether the person is getting worse. So the change can be measured. Okay, see, in leprosy patients, you would have gone to the OPD or in the physiotherapy department, you would have seen them doing the assessment of the sensation and the muscle assessment of the hands and the feet. Okay, so only once if they do, then you will know the status of the patient. That is cross-sectional study. But if they do it every month and you have data, then you can compare whether the patient is becoming better or patient is becoming worse. So that comparison is possible when you do data collection at regular intervals. So that is a longitudinal study. Okay, so the main advantage of longitudinal study is you do research or do data collection on the study population at regular intervals, every 6 months or every month or every 1 year. So when you do data collection at different points of time, you are able to measure the change that the patient is undergoing or change that is happening in the study population. So that is the advantage of a longitudinal study. Okay, so that is why they say a longitudinal study can be, in simple words, thought of as a repetitive cross-sectional study. So you're repeating cross-sectional studies at regular intervals, every 6 months or every 1 year or even every 1 month. So that is the longitudinal study. So it is similar to cross-sectional study. Only thing, cross-sectional study you do only once. In longitudinal study you do the same data collection at regular intervals. So when you do regular intervals, you have data about the same patient at two different points of time, and you are able to compare the values or compare the cause or compare the effect on the person. So the disadvantage of the longitudinal study is it takes a long time to complete and it is cost effective also. Okay, the other thing is, because you are asking the same question to the research subject or the sample population, they will be there can be some kind of bias, and they know what they are going to say or they will think what they are going to say, and that is called the conditioning effect. So because they know what you are going to ask, and they will have a ready-made answer for you. Okay, but the advantage of the longitudinal study is it has more value and it can measure the change that is happening in the study population. So I hope you understood the difference between a cross-sectional study and a longitudinal study. Simply saying, cross-sectional study, you take the study population, you study about a particular aspect or intervention, and then you write a paper. Okay, so the advantage is it's cost effective. Disadvantage, you do the study only once and there is no data at two different points of time for you to compare it. Okay, so measurement of change is impossible. Whereas in a longitudinal study, it's a series of cross-sectional studies. So you take a study population, you do research on them, you ask questions about a particular aspect, and then after 1 month or 6 months or 1 year, you take the same study population, you follow them up, and you ask the same questions or some additional questions also, and then you will be able to compare the change in the attitude or behavior or all these aspects for the same patient. So the advantage of a longitudinal study is you will be able to measure the change in behavior, in attitude, in knowledge of a particular group of people. So but the disadvantage of longitudinal study is it is time taking and it can suffer from the conditioning effect. Okay, so I hope you understood all these aspects of different methods of research, and especially in this class about the cross-sectional research and the longitudinal research. Okay, so see you in the next class with data collection methods and data collection tools. Thank you.